Did you see the results regarding Stellar and the most recent pilot with the Ukraine bank? Ooh, I'm going to share that info with you. We're also going to be talking about Stellar price action. That's right, we're going to tell those fudsters, pack your bags, get on out of here. It's time for Stellar to roar. And I want to show you the difference between firms that are going to continue operating versus ones that need to liquidate. Totally interesting story as you see two sides of the coin. And the reason it's important is because so many firms out there have declared bankruptcy. Let's get into the news. What's up, girlfriend? I'll tell you what's up. We're banging and wanging on this Friday, getting ready to enter the weekend. Heat maps looking really green with XLM sitting at 8.1, up 2.8% last 24 hours. Broader look across the market sees two things that we're all very happy about. Ethereum at 1412 and Bitcoin above 19,000, sitting at 19,054, up 6% in the last 24 hours. And I know some of you out there are like, yo, Klaus, I don't like Ethereum, I don't like Bitcoin, and I get it. Here's the thing though, good news for Ethereum and good news for Bitcoin is good news for the rest of the crypto market. Speaking of not good news, Crypto.com lays off 20% of staff amid the crypto winter. Crypto.com CEO Chris Marszalek shared the announcement on the company's website early Friday morning. If that's today, that's why you hit the subscribe button so you're up to date with the most recent crypto news out there. Today we made the difficult decision to reduce our global workforce by approximately 20%, he wrote. These reductions were in no way related to performance, and we extend our deepest gratitude for all the contributors of Crypto.com. Here is the announcement from them because, as always, any article you see in this video will be linked in the description below. The trajectory changed rapidly with a confluence of negative economic developments. The reductions were made last July, positioned us to weather the macroeconomic downturn, but it did not account for the recent collapse of FTX, which significantly damaged the trust in the industry. And what he's referring to in regards to July is the Celsius action. Yes, everyone. So they were like, look, we positioned ourselves well after Celsius. We did some layoffs. We did some operational expense cutting. But then when FTX happened, that put even more fear in the market. And you guys all know what we're talking about. Over the last couple months, it has been rough reporting with so many stories being negative. That's why I'm so excited lately because there's a lot of good stories. Now, I'm going to show you something really interesting here with Celsius and another firm out there. But it's important to see that companies like Crypto.com are doing the right thing of reducing their costs in order to withstand this prolonged crypto winter. Celsius sells Bitcoin mining machines for $1.3 million. And remember I said, hey, if Bitcoin is up, that's a good thing. Well, it's a good thing because that means the miners out there, maybe they could start making money soon. Not really so much at 19,000. We need it to be a little bit higher. But think those Bitcoin miners, they can't pay their loans back, which means the companies that are owed that money aren't getting the cash in, which means then the people that get money from them aren't getting their cash. Crypto hot potato. So yes, it is very important to see the Bitcoin price go up and up and up along with Ethereum. But back to Celsius. So they sold their mining machines for $1.3 million. I want you to think about this. The Celsius action happened right around mid-June. I think it was 12th or 14th, all right? Since then, the Celsius thing has been a complete mess. The lawyers are charging just abhorrent amounts of money, millions and millions of dollars. We've seen mismanagement of funds. It's been an absolute mess. That being said, remember when Celsius first declared bankruptcy, they're like, yo, we've got a plan in order to keep things open. We got a plan because we think we're going to be able to restructure and make it good, for all the creditors out there. The problem is this. As time went on, the market just started eroding more and more and more, okay? But now I'm going to show you a flip side story. Then we're going to get into the market. Then we're going to get into Stellar juicy goodness. Hodlnaut's creditors prefer liquidation rather than restructuring report. Some creditors of the distressed cryptocurrency lender Hodlnaut are reportedly not fond of the proposed restructuring plan that could enable the company's directors to stay at helm. Very similar to Celsius. That was part of Celsius' plan. Remember, Mashinsky was like, yo, I still want to be the big man on campus. Dude, you were the big man on campus that ran your company into the ground, you moron. Instead, they would rather see it going into liquidation. Believing this will grant them access to their frozen assets. Okay, let's digest this and let's unpack it, okay? So I'm going to go to the global cryptocurrency market cap action. I've got the chart right here of when Celsius went down to current times, okay? And we're going to draw a little bit, so let's get into it. Right here, this blue line right here represents where the market cap was for the crypto whole, as a whole, when Celsius happened. This blue line right here represents where we are at right now. So you can see during that time, all of the assets, think of the assets that Celsius held, are worth way less. We're talking about 25% less. Some of them worth even less than that. Why? Because it was tied directly to Celsius. Okay, so now that's just the assets. But remember, during this whole time period, all right, this whole ball of wax right here, we're talking 6+ months. They've had to pay lawyers' fees. They've had to give bonuses to their staff. They've had to pay to keep the lights on. In fact, Celsius got court approval to do Bitcoin mining to try to recoup some funds. But as we saw in that story, Celsius now is unloading those mining machines for $1.3 million. What is $1.3 million going to do for a company, right, that lost billions of dollars for their investors? So if we look at the Celsius thing and if we look at Hodlnaut, you could see two big things. The Celsius thing was like, yo, let's keep this running. Let's make it work. Let's make it right. No, you've lost more money. Think of how much money the lawyers have eaten up during this whole time period. Lots. You still had to pay rent. You had to pay salaries, bonuses, all the operating expenses out there. Now what Hodlnaut is saying is, yo, pull the plug now. Let's just take our 80, 70 cents to the dollar and call it a day. The reason they're saying that is because companies like Celsius now, they're not at 70 cents to the dollar or 50 or 30. They might be closer anywhere from 10 to 20 cents to the dollar, with some estimates even coming in as low as 7 to 9 cents to the dollar. So you're seeing now companies out there that have declared bankruptcy, they got two paths. We pull the plug right now and save as much as we can, or we try to restructure and make it work. As we've seen in this case of Celsius, restructuring is not working because guess what? Yes, the lawyers always win and just expenses just keep occurring and occurring. We have to apply that now with FTX, BlockFi, and all the other ones out there to see, hey, do they liquidate or do they try to restructure and keep things going and make it right for their investors? So this is a story we're definitely going to pay attention to because there's definitely two sides of the coin when it comes to filing bankruptcy. Do you stay open and try to make it work? Or do you liquidate? And now we're gonna slide on over to Twitter, and you're welcome to slide into my DMs. Whoa, that was naughty, Klaus. Transparency, accountability, and low transaction costs were among the many cited benefits of blockchain in a report by Tascom Bank. During their pilot, one of Ukraine's oldest banks cited the future of e-currency on Stellar as promising. Well, let's go to the Stellar press release. The objective of the pilot, which started in 2021, was to test the issuance of electronic money on an open blockchain with asset control capabilities for its issuers. It focused on peer-to-peer and merchant payments as well as payroll. And as always, any article you see in this video will be linked in the description below. But let's take it even further, everyone. I've got the report right here, and you're welcome to read the report. I'll give you a little bit of tip. Once you download the PDF, go to the search bar, type in Stellar or any other term you want. You're going to see this bar up on the side here. Anywhere you see yellow, that term is mentioned. What I want to focus on is this, and this is seriously, this is a worthwhile read, okay? This is 29 pages long. It'll take you a good, I don't know, I'd say about 20 minutes to get through, but very worth it, okay? But I just want to show you this chart because this shows you 5 different protocols, okay? And how they compare to each other. Proof of work, think of Bitcoin. Proof of stake, think of Ethereum. Byzantine agreement, Tendermint, and Stellar consensus protocol. So they had 4 different categories here listed. Decentralized control, low delay, flexibility of confidence, and safety. Proof of work, yes, Bitcoin, the most decentralized thing out there, right? Who's the CEO, right? Who's in charge of it? Now I get, that new blocks and all that are done by 2 main companies, but I'm talking about who do you go after of the issuance of Bitcoin? Just you get more machines, right? So I mean, that's what I'm saying. You can't go after a person. So decentralized control, definitely we got to give it to Bitcoin on that and proof of work. Now look at proof of stake, and we're thinking about Ethereum here because remember, Ethereum transferred to proof of stake to get those green regulators off their backs. Yes, you've got decentralized control, partially low delay, no flexibility of confidence, and partially for safety. Byzantine agreement, Tendermint. Now let's go to the Stellar consensus protocol because that's what you all are here for. And don't worry, I've got price talk action coming up next. Stellar consensus protocol, yes, decentralized. Yes, there's a low delay, 3 to 4 second transaction processing time. We know about the quick transactions on the chain, especially for those of you that have been following the channel. Flexibility of confidence, yes, and safety, yes. Now, mind you, This report here, this is not from Stellar. This is coming from Tascom Bank in the Ukraine. And like I said, you're welcome to read this. It gets very, very gritty with a lot of good visuals in here to show you what they're looking for and how they're looking to use blockchain technology. It was really, really nice to see, though, some positive mentions regarding Stellar. And oh, real quick here, were there other companies and blockchains using this? No. Just throwing it out there for everyone. Now let's get into the price talk. Okay, see this purple line up on the screen right here? That purple line represents the price of Stellar XLM at the announcement of the CPI data. As you can see, we've had more action above that time, meaning the markets are positively reacting to the 6.5 that we called on this channel. Now, what I wanted, though, was going into CPI data, I really wanted Stellar to be above that 8 cents when the CPI data hit. That being said, they came in just under. It was like 7.96, something like that. After a little bit of ping pong action, the market digested the news and was like, yo, we think the worst is over with. In fact, if you look at it from the beginning of the year, because that's what this chart shows here, this is year-to-date action, baby, you can see that Stellar went from a low of 7.08 cents to a high as much as 8.25 cents. Well over 10% move just in the year of 2023. So is the worst behind us? Well, a lot of us are thinking so. Now, granted, we do have some things that are looming overhead. We know there's going to be some companies out there that are in some financial trouble. I did a story regarding Digital Currency Group that owes $3 billion to its investors, but yet at the same time only had about 500 million of assets that they were willing to sell. And that's it, they got dollar to dollar. And going back to the Celsius and Hodlnaut things, you know that, hey, if people are selling stuff via a fire sale because they're in financial trouble, they're not going to get dollar for dollar. So yes, we are on our way up. It appears, though, that the worst is behind us, with inflation peaking in June of 2022 at 9.1, with us sitting right now at 6.5. Now, granted, we have to get to that 2.0 target, and with China opening up their economy, that could drive up demand, which could mess up a little bit of what Jerome Powell and the Fed are working at. The other thing is we're talking about recession fears. Bank earnings are coming out, and we also have other earnings that are going to be reported here in the next couple weeks that are going to give us a bigger global indicator of what to expect with the market looking forward. And just going to throw a little juicy nugget in there for those of you that are still watching. You guys all know I'm a huge fan of gold, and specifically DRD gold. Keep an eye on the price of gold as it broke 1900 yesterday. We could easily see gold going on up as well as oil going on up, because demand for oil is going to be increasing with the Chinese market reopening. Some pretty interesting educational stuff in this video, isn't it? And I kept it fun to hopefully keep your attention this whole time. Now, I like seeing the difference between Hodlnaut and Celsius. Why? Because I was never a fan of Celsius to begin with. And remember, the lawyers always win. So as we delay these things, think of with the Ripple Labs XRP case. Who wins in that? It's the lawyers, because you got to pay them, right? And every time there's a delay, you got to pay them more and more and more. Same thing with these bankruptcy lawyers out there. These bankruptcy lawyers, as well as probate lawyers, know how to milk the system and get as much money out as they can. Now, as the delays happen, who gets less money? It's the people that are owed, right? The creditors, they get less. So they get hurt. I'll be very interested to see what happens with Hodlnaut if they do decide to go through liquidation, right? Are they going to get 70 cents a dollar, 80 cents a dollar, 50 cents? We will find out. And as soon as I find out, I'll be sure to share it with you. Now, the Stellar action when it comes to Tascom Bank in Ukraine is good news, as a big bank out there, especially going through some total turmoil right now, was still able to work through a digital currency project out there and say that Stellar has many benefits that can be used with issuing digital currency and assets in the future. That's good news for all the Stellar fans out there, even if you're the one wearing the Stellar hat. Speaking of Stellar doing good, it's nice to see that the price is up over 10% in 2023, with a lot of us out there thinking that, hey, the bottom has been priced in. I am cautiously optimistic, though, because we do have a few things kind of looming over our heads. And remember, Jerome Powell and the Fed are set to meet next January 31st with the announcement on February 1st of what their next rate hike is. Rumblings out there have said this recent CPI data is going to force Jerome Jerome Powell to come back down to a 25 basis point hit, which would really send the markets even more green. Now, I'm still on the camp of Jerome Powell and the Fed going with the 50 basis point hit based on the fact that the Chinese market is opening up, which is going to mess the whole supply and demand metric that these rate hikes are meant to kind of squash. And make sure you hit that subscribe button. Why? Because we're going to be live streaming the actual announcement of Jerome Powell and the Fed's rate hike along with the Q&A after. So make sure you hit the sub button so that you don't miss out. Until more news breaks, I'm going to leave you with this Crypto Web3 video right here, algorithmically picked specifically just for you. Thank you for all the various levels of support, whether it's comments, likes, channel members, subscriptions, donations, whatever it is. I greatly appreciate it. Sincere thank you from me to you. Until more news breaks, you cool cats, have a great rest of your day.